Hi everyone, and welcome to the Inside Guide podcast. I am Marion, coach and facilitator, and this show is all about exploring yourself. Each week, I'll give you all the tips and tricks you need to gain clarity and serenity. What I want for you is that you get enough tools to understand your inside world, to be able to make the right change on your outer world. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. Hi everyone, and welcome to this third episode. Today we're talking about becoming the best version of yourself. So, in the previous episodes, we've seen that the way we feel is the direct result of what we think. Life circumstances are just neutral. It's only through the filter of our thoughts that we will feel either motivated, happy, or frustrated and happy. And this is why two people with the exact same situations would react differently. So at the end of the first episode, I suggested for you to do an exercise, and it was to write down the flow of your thoughts for at least 5 minutes each day. So I don't know if you've done it, but if you have, you might have realized a couple of things. You might have realized, for example, that you think a lot of negative stuff. You might have realized that you think a lot of the same things. Or you might have realized that, what the hell am I thinking that? I shouldn't think that at my age. So if you have realized these kind of things, don't worry, it's completely normal. We think that each person has more or less 50,000 thoughts a day. And 80% of these thoughts are repetitive, so problems and situations that we dwell over and over in our minds. 90% of the same thoughts that we're dwelling are negative. I know, that's great, right? So did you ever notice the voice in your head? You know, the one who loves to narrate your life. Imagine that you're trying to decide what to buy your mother as a Christmas present. As you think about this, memories of your last family Christmas in Greece run through your mind. You remember the stunning sceneries and breathtaking beaches, which reminds you that you read this morning in the newspaper huge protests that are happening at the moment in Greece, which sets you thinking about the political situation in this country, which reminds you that you have to file your taxes by the end of the month. Finally, to realize you have no idea what to offer to your mother and give up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Well, the Buddhists called this phenomenon monkey mind. It's also famous as thought chatter. So we think that the human brain has a negative bias, meaning that naturally it will focus more on negative aspects of our lives in general. And researchers think it's linked to the human evolution, which is quite logical when we, imagine a caveman trying to survive, or just simply someone who has to face a survival situation. I think we can all understand that it's more important to think of how I'm going to feed my kids rather than looking at the blue sky and telling me that it's a beautiful day. And all the thoughts that we cultivate more or less consciously are in fact thoughts, situations, events, and memories that we accumulated over time, especially in our childhood. Events to which we assisted, for example, or speech we heard, things that society and advertisement repeat over and over. And so, over time, and before we realize it, we accumulate thoughts and feelings that we don't question anymore. And this is when it can be dangerous because it's not a thought anymore, it's a belief. When we stop questioning something, it becomes a belief. And we hold lots of beliefs on anything about ourselves, about life in general, about our physical appearances, about our relationships, about others, about lots of things. So, for example, we can hold beliefs about ourselves like, I am shy, or I am lucky in life. I need to be thin and fit for summer. I tend to cry easily. We hold beliefs about others like French people are this way, men are liars, women are complicated. We hold beliefs about life like you need to work hard to earn money. You know the famous no pain, no gain, or life is hard. We can hold beliefs about work like it's hard to succeed when you're a woman. And so we can start to ask ourselves, where does these beliefs come from? Is it something that I truly think? Or is it something that I downloaded when I was a kid? Did I get this by myself? Or from my friends, from the society, what I heard on TV over time? Bruce Lipton, who is a famous biologist, talk about this phenomenon as programs that we downloaded during our childhood. And I love his vision. If you can check it out, go for it because it's very interesting. And so, what we need to understand about the brain is that curiously, the brain doesn't want to think too much. It's easier for it to always have the same thought process and the same thought pattern. Because when the brain questions too much things, it produces energy that it could use for high priority problems, such as surviving, obviously. So, why does it do that? It's only to help us and to function in the best and optimal way. Because you can imagine that we couldn't question absolutely everything and every day. It couldn't be possible just to live and survive. So, what is important to realize here is that if we don't do anything about our thoughts and beliefs, our brain will always function this way our whole life, meaning that our whole life, 80% of our thoughts will be repetitive, so we will dwell on problems over and over, and that 95% of the same ones will be negative. And so those beliefs that we hold, some of them serves us, but with the natural negative bias of the brain, there's more chances that unfortunately most of the beliefs that you hold don't serve you. And so this is what we call limiting beliefs, because unconsciously we cultivate thoughts and beliefs that hold us back from evolving, from becoming happier, from getting a better job, and from becoming the best version of ourselves. And I remember that before I started my personal growth journey, I thought that I was a certain kind of person, you know, angry and all this stuff, and that there was nothing that I could do about it. You know, when people tell you, I'm like this is who I am, and I can't change. Well, the good news is that this is not true. You are not your thoughts. You are not the thoughts and fear that you cultivated. Your identity, like the person who you truly are, is way much more than this. And when you haven't done any personal development work, it's easy to think and link your identity to what you have believed your whole life, to what your relatives and your teachers have told you for years, to the behaviors you became familiar with. And so, the best example that I can give you is actually mine. Because, as I told you before, because of my childhood and all the violence that I've been through, I was a person that cultivated a lot of negative emotions, a lot of anger. I was really demanding towards my friends and lots of things in life. And when I left to travel, I think that unconsciously I allowed myself to become a new person and to reshape my identity because I was in another country that was not mine. I was with people that I didn't know and that didn't know me either. So it was just easier to become a brand new person and to reshape my identity. And the thing is that when I came back after a year and a half, everyone around me, like my friends and family, told me, you know, you haven't changed, but you look so much more fulfilled and you actually look like the best version of yourself. And so I don't think that you have to run away to the other side of the world to do this. But when you realize all these mechanisms and your potential, it's easy to guess that there's another level of consciousness that we don't have access to, that no one taught us. And this level of consciousness is the one of the observer. So, what is an observer? The aim is to, thanks to special tools and exercise, becoming the observer of your thoughts, to observe how your thoughts are linked to your emotions, how you can carry on pattern of behavior that hold you back from being the best version of yourself. And what do I mean by that? Becoming an observer allows us to become aware of the thought chatter in order to create detachment and perspective that we need to evolve and become the best version of ourselves. Becoming an observer will help you with stepping back from your perception. And when you start to understand that your brain functions in a way and that you also downloaded programs during your childhood, you are not used to question your thoughts and your beliefs. And even less than that, you are not used to observe them. And in order to improve your life, you need to access this level of consciousness. And so you might ask yourself, all right, that's very interesting, Marianne, but how to do it? And this is exactly why I suggested you to do the exercise of writing down the flow of your thoughts in the morning for at least 5 minutes each day, because this exercise is very powerful to strengthen the observer, to strengthen this level of consciousness. And as you do it, you can start to ask yourself to just, look at the flow of your thoughts and ask yourself, is it something that comes from myself, or is it something that I downloaded from someone else, from childhood, from school, from the society, from my relatives? Is it something that serves me, or is it something that, on the opposite, doesn't serve me? The more you strengthen this level of consciousness and this observer, the more you can create detachment and perspective to reshape your identity and to become the best version of yourself. You know, I've met many people by traveling that remind me of me before I traveled and before I started my personal growth journey. And I remember that girl that I just loved, and she was very similar to me before, like, quite angry and very reactive and all this thing. And she was constantly repeating, I'm just like this. This is who I am and I can't change. And deep down myself, I knew that this was not true because I am the proof that it's possible. I am the proof that you can become the best version of yourself. And what I mean by this is not that I'm perfect, it's just that it's possible to change what you think that defines you. And it's possible to mutate what holds you back into something that elevates you. Because I don't think I'm special. I don't think I am very different from you or from someone else. The only thing that I've done is strengthening this level of consciousness and reshape my identity, becoming a new person, which is not very new at the end because I'm still the same. I just decided to uninstall all the programs that didn't serve me anymore. And I decided to download new ones in order to become happier. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you appreciated the episode. And if you did, the best way to support the podcast is to subscribe to it and leave it a review. This will help the podcast to become more visible so that others can discover it. If you think that one of your friends might like it too, feel free to share it. Thank you guys. I see you soon in the next episode.